This video lesson covers the dotted half note in quarter time and 16th notes in 8 time. Now really, either one of these music theory concepts are very easy to understand, and it won't take you very much time at all to be able to apply these. But essentially what I want to do is make sure that I've covered some very basic fundamentals here. First topic is the dotted half note. Now, whenever we have half notes in quarter time, a half note receives 2 beats. Whenever a dot is placed behind a note, it increases its value by half of the original value. Doesn't just add 1 count. So, notice this half note gets 2 beats. Half of 2 is 1, so 1 plus 2 is 3. So therefore, a dotted half note equals 3 counts. Now, at the first page on lesson 7, there is a coordination exercise that basically applies the dotted half notes. Very simple. So basically, the dotted half note gets 3 beats. But let me caution you, if you'll turn over to the appendix lines in the back of the book, there are a few appendix lines that apply the dotted half note. What I like to have my students do is, instead of just saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, I have them subdivide long note values like the dotted half note. So, subdividing by 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Basically, this will pay off when we have something following a dotted half note like 8th notes or 16ths. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and. Okay? That will keep you from rushing and will also prep you for the tempo of the 8th notes that follow the dotted half notes in the appendix line. Then go back to the playing exercises and work those up. Really pretty simple concept to understand. Now, the next concept of applying 16th notes in 8 time is yet another very simple thing to learn how to do. It's just different. You got to get used to seeing things written differently. Notice in the first measure of this exercise, there are 4 8th notes. Now, if I was in quarter time, I would count this 1 and 2 and. But since I've got an 8 on the bottom, I count it completely differently. 1, 2, 3, 4. The 8th note receives the beat. Now, since there are 2 16th notes in each 8th note in the second measure, I would say and between the beats. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So you see, playing 16th notes in 8 time is very simple. It's just getting used to seeing something written differently. So in the first 2 measures of this line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Putting my right hand on every single downbeat, my left hand on the upbeats. That will help you out in the process of learning to read these etudes. Okay? So as we're working through, anytime you see an 8th rest, remember that is a whole count. Now in 8 time, I'm tapping my foot to the 8th note as well. So there you have it, learning to count dotted half notes and 16ths in 8 time. Not very difficult, just is a different way of looking at things. In our next video lesson, we're going to learn a rudimental etude where we apply the flam.